So, can you guess what we're having a look at today? Today I'm going off script, off the beaten track, GREQ unplugged. Today we're going to look at something which I actually don't like for a change. As you can see, they're all on-ear headphones. So unlike full-sized headphones which have huge pads which go around your ears, on-ear headphones press up against your ears. There are many reasons why I prefer over-ear headphones over on-ear headphones. The main one being they're just not comfortable. After a certain period of time, different size ear pads put usually the same amount of pressure all over your ear, but your ear is not a flat plate. So eventually some part of your ear is going to get something called a hot spot or a warm spot, or you'll just feel a very piercing pain in that one area after 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, whatever, depending on the ear pad. Something like this can be worn, well, I can wear it a bit longer than, let's say, something like this one, for example, because this one puts hardly any pressure anywhere. It's extremely light, and the foam does something at least, kind of like this one, where you have quite a large, well, no, quite a deep amount of foam. The next problem I have with on-ear headphones is that none of them have Soundstage at all. It always sounds like there's just this fine cone or tube of music that goes from the headphone into your ear, whereas over-ear headphones have all this stuff going on with the baffle and the cups and the pads, and that has an interaction with your whole ear. And this has an interaction with maybe 10, 15, 20% of your ear, obviously depending on the different size of ear pads and the different size of on-ear headphone. Something like this, which is a lot larger, will have a fairly decent interaction with your ear compared to others. I reviewed this one last year, for example. Not too bad, but again, it just puts a hotspot in a weird place. This is a weird one. Obviously, these are not the original ear pads. This is a COS Rebrand by Interfunk. I believe that's a Swiss redistributor, and this is a sort of a mishmash of two different headphones. Actually, sounds quite good, quite fun. Lots of bass when you add memory foam, for example. It can be more neutral if you add a different kind of foam. When you do put a deep foam on it, actually, this kind of pad or padding can be very comfortable and enjoyable for longer listening sessions. So that one, higher on the scale, not too bad. Yeah, nothing special about these. Maybe interesting for a collector somewhere. Then you've got a lot of, these are very common, these SE4s, Pioneer, these SE2s, SE6. Yeah, there's a lot of these floating around. None of them particularly great, but we'll get back to that later. Yeah, you've already seen with the previous Darrow, there's all these Walkman type headphones. A lot of them are well known for just being very mediocre, not very good at doing anything in particular. I mean, this has a little party trick. That's fun, I guess. Yay. Anyway, it's not like I can wear them for very long or enjoy them because they sound like trash, and they kind of feel like it too. These were actually quite popular when these came out back in the day. What were they called again? The K450. Yeah, I should have remembered that. Not too bad overall. Sound and comfort, okay. But again, no Soundstage. You can't expect much detail from these small drivers, but they were fun when they were still new. You got these classic kind of studio monitors, the sibling of the V7 and the V6. Actually, the audio quality, not too bad, but the problem with most of these smaller on-ear studio monitors was a lack of bass. They just couldn't dig down deeply. That was a very common issue with a lot of those types. but not the worst. This is a very common studio staple. I mean, there's been a million reviews and a million photos and a million blog posts of these things everywhere. Needs no introduction. But again, I just get a soft spot on my a hot spot on my ear listening to these. After some time, they're just not comfortable. But they do correct a lot of the problems that a lot of other OnEar studio monitors have. These do have bass, for example. Well, and some other neat features, but that's more for DJs. Not my thing. And of course, going back to the point about quality, obviously there were some interesting models in the past, this being one of them, the MDR M77. Actually, compared to many of the other OnEar headphones that I have, these have extremely high build quality. Nice leatherette stitched headband. Really, no, there's some nice numbering, so you know exactly what settings you're using. Again, they have the same problem of exposed cables, and yeah, you will have to replace these, which I've done. These are not the stock ones, but yeah, quite thin sounding. Again, no bass, but the higher end you go, the more likely they will be able to take some EQ or tone correction and give you a more balanced sound. Now, of course, there are some other exceptions. This being one of them. It looks like an OnEar headphone, but the truth is, it clips around your ear. So these things, somehow, because of this, they put less pressure on your ears. They're more comfortable to wear. You actually wear them around the back of your head, so this goes around your neck. If you're facing that way, that's the top of your head. I've found that I can wear these for extended periods, and I prefer to use these when I'm doing things like going out jogging, doing some exercise. They've been quite useful over the years. One of my all-time favorite OnEar headphones. And of course, I can't talk about OnEar headphones without bringing up legendary Grados. Obviously, this is a DIY mod, so it's not something you can get in the shops or anything, but I had some fun messing around with these back in the day. These are some SR80s, as you can see. The slightly pink driver fabric cover. Again, everyone knows how legendary these sound, but they will put a hotspot onto your ear if you're like me and unlucky. And obviously these have ridiculous cables, so somehow these just don't get any use anymore. Not as much as they should anyway. Going back to exceptions, sometimes you can take an OnEar headphone like this and modify it into an over-ear headphone. So I just took some broken baffles off a gaming headset and used some double-sided tape to stick them on. Completely reversible. All I need to do is peel this off, use some a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, and it will all wipe away, no problem. So these have been extremely fun to listen to. For example, it does change the sound, it does change the character, but makes them bearable for longer listening sessions, and in my opinion, actually improves the sound and the tuning. I think if, for example, Pioneer made an full-size version of this back in the day, it would have been an absolute monster of a headphone, and even more legendary than it is today. Yeah, Pioneer, they made some other OnEar headphones as well in their history. Here's some Tanium Sea8. Not many of these around. Took me about 11 years to find one of these, and even with the master designation as shown on the headband, the frequency response of these is just a bit wonky. It's a bit funny. I can't listen to these for too long because the ear pad shape, it is a bit weird. Sure, they're more ear shaped, but it will put a strange pressure at some point on my ear, and I just won't be able to listen to them properly for very long, which is a shame because they're actually quite fun. Now, talking about a completely different kind of exception, there are other OnEar headphones, such as planar magnetics, such as the Yamaha YH100. The problem with these vintage planars is that many of them actually do sound their best with a very flat, thin on-ear pad. So the modders, the headphone modders, and the ortho junkies have been modifying all sorts of these headphones ad nauseum to try and get the perfect solution for putting these drivers into over-ear full-size headphones. Many of them have been failures. Let's not beat around the bush. I don't think it's a losing battle exactly, but most of the people who are doing it no doubt have gone crazy and wasted many hours trying to find the correct solutions for these problems. Another interesting one is Biodynamic. What is this one? The T something or other, T5? T51P. I knew there was a 5 in there. Again, not super comfortable. Not the worst pads in the world, actually pretty decent, similar to the AKG the 450s from earlier. These sound phenomenal. Build is amazing. So they've obviously done away with the cable around the top by just having a double entry, which I think most of them should be doing instead these days. But like on the other hand, on the flip side, this has no replacement. There's no alternative for this today. They stopped making this headphone or something like it, which is a problem if you love on-ear headphones. Now, I'm not saying all on-ear headphones are bad. If you love them, more power to you. That's great. I think if you love something, then don't let other people like me bring you down. Just keep loving your stuff. On another note, here's something really fun that I like. The Phillips HX5. Obviously, these are not the original earpads. Don't worry about that. But they have an interesting party piece, which I'll show you in a second.
A few moments later.
So when you turn them on and they're playing music, there we go. They flash to the beat of the music. Isn't that wonderful? Needless to say, I never take these out of the house because it's ridiculous. But fun. Another one that's quite fun, or weird, is the Ultrasone Zeno. Not many of these left around. Not in their original condition anyway. Well, this isn't original condition. But yeah, follows the same principle as the Biodynamic. Two cables going in. But the next problem with on-ear headphones is the ear pads. Replacing on-ear pads for almost every custom headphone or custom ear pad on every on-ear headphone, it's impossible. You have to do some surgery, buy some foam, cut it to the right size, etc., etc. It's not a lot of fun. And then you have these, which also have an extremely wacky frequency response. But that's not what we're all about right now. In the end, also fun. But not for me. And finally, some Sennheisers. I'm not going to take them out the box. It's just something to look at the end of the day before the video's over. I can't wear these for very long. They're not very comfortable. They just end up being collector's items because they don't sound stellar either. That one's not too bad though. I quite like that one, the way it sounds. Hopefully that's given you some insight into my likes and dislikes, why I will mostly only be reviewing over-ear headphones in the future from now on. And yeah. If you're lucky, maybe you'll bump into me at high-end Munich tomorrow. Let's see. Anyway, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.